Salutations, scholars. Let us talk about correcting run-on sentences. In previous videos, you've seen a couple ways to correct them. We've talked about the fanboys already. We've even talked about the use of a semicolon. We have defined a run-on sentence as two complete sentences smashed together without any punctuation. And we know that it is one of the most basic mistakes we can make as a writer. But a basic mistake also has some very basic ways to correct it. We're going to look at three right here. We've talked about how to identify where the two sentences run together. You find the end of the first complete thought, and you typically find the second subject. And usually between those two, not always, not 100% of the time, mind you, but usually between those two, you're going to find where you should make your correction. Okay? The first thing you can do is make two sentences. You insert a period and make a capital letter. It always works, without fail. It makes your writing sound a little choppy, doesn't make it very smooth, so that's why we have other alternatives. We insert a semicolon, which we've talked about in a previous video. The semicolon can only be between two sentences that are closely related. And finally, we use a comma and a fanboys, which we also know as a coordinating conjunction. The following sentences here are model sentences that are correct. A model sentence is a sentence you can look at without any correction to be made, and you can see the proper grammar. Okay? If we look at number one, and let me make this bold so you see this correction. I went to the doctor, period. I was sick and afraid it would get worse. I made two sentences out of one. Subject, verb, complete thought. Subject, verb, complete thought. It's that simple. Okay? Number two. The American Revolution began after the Declaration of Independence was signed. The war ended with the Battle of Yorktown. Okay? These sentences are closely related. The beginning of the war, the end of the war. So I joined them with a semicolon. That's how that works. When I say closely related, their meanings and their topics have to be similar. Okay? We're talking about the American Revolution. We're talking about its beginning and its ending, so I can use a semicolon there. Now we come down to the fanboys. Number three, Maria does not miss a day of work, nor does she miss... We need to reword this sentence, so let's look at this. Maria does not miss a day of work, nor does she not miss a day of school. So we have a problem there. So we use the comma with the fanboy, nor, because we have a neither nor situation. Okay? Neither nor does she miss a day of school. So we reword this sentence slightly. Nor does she miss a day of school. Subject, verb, complete thought. By comparison, let's talk about when to use a fanboy and when not to use a fanboy. Okay? When I talk about choppy, number 5 is what I mean. You can go to the volleyball game. You can go to the band concert. Wouldn't it make more sense to say you can go to the volleyball game or you can go to the band concert? And please notice, okay, when I made two sentences, I made sure that was capitalized. Two sentences, period, capital letter. When I used the semicolon, semicolon, lowercase. Okay? That's the difference in the capitalization. That's the difference in a semicolon and a period. And that is how you use a comma with a fanboy. You see it there. You see it again here. And remember, and go back and watch the fanboys video if you have an issue with this. It's not enough just to use a fanboy. You have to use the proper fanboy. Okay? For instance, but shows contradiction. I wanted to go to the bookstore, but the bookstore closed at 9 o'clock, which means I didn't get to go to the bookstore. Contradiction. Okay? Or so as an if-then sort of statement. The storm knocked cause and effect, in other words. Number 7, the storm knocked the power out, so I could not play Fortnite on my Xbox. Cause and effect. If-then. Okay? Those are the most basic ways to correct a run-on sentence. There are some other methods. We'll talk more about them in a different video. But if you can do these 3 things, you can correct a run-on sentence. You can proofread your work now and find this error and get it out of your writing. It's a very common mistake, and everybody makes them at times. Now you know how to look for a run-on sentence, and now you know how to correct it.